I see you've brought guests. Oh, there!
Burn away the blight!
Hole in your head. Relax. Let's warm you up.
Do you have this in a bigger size?
And close enough.
Reverberations in the void.
We stand together! We stand together! We stand together! We stand together! We stand together!
My new pet.
We stand together!
You are the Shadow's puppet. You are the Shadow's puppet. My new pet.
So many choices.
Feature life-size statue of Amandu.
gotta move!
As you say, I seem to have lost the surface.
Don't keep your thoughts to yourself.
Burn away the blight.
The Titan's flame shall never die!
You are the Shadow's puppet.
Our gift of the arcane enlightens us.
Don't keep your thoughts to yourself.
It's all in your head.
There is no light, only power! It's hammer time!
Wait! The hammer is still cool!
Firmly grasp it! It burns within us!
It is finished. You win.
Garrosh versus Garrosh!
Victory or death! Now you're sailing on my seas!
Ah, I see you've brought guests.
Listen up, ye lily-littered hornswaggler! Ahoy, scallywag!
Job's done. Job's done.
Do you have this in a bigger size?
I must choose!
Relax. Let's warm you up.
The Titan's flame shall never die!
this in a bigger size?
I must choose.
Do you have this in a bigger size?
Avast ye!
Okay, as you saw, we just hit Diamond 5, well, Diamond 4 actually, because of the win streak we're on, and we're on Legend Star bonus. So let's have a look at the deck we've been playing. So I'm sure everyone knows this deck. Where is it? A big Control Warrior. Yeah, so there's two Control Warrior decks. There's a regular one. There's different versions. There's a more of a quicker one. This one is tries to like get Odyn as fast as he can and just like play maximum armor cards with this bash. It's a very aggressive deck once you get Odyn, but it's kind of a one-trick horse. If Odyn goes there or any other win condition, maybe Ignis, maybe. And it's slightly weaker against aggro. Right, and things like Warlock, which cause you to lose 6 of your cards very often with Symphony of Sins. I just prefer this one. This is the 40 card version. It's got really nice synergy with Naga Giant and Igneous Lava Gorger. Like, for example, if you've got a Wind Fury weapon equipped and you get Igneous Lava Gorger and you hit a Naga Giant, that's 40 damage straight away. 40 damage for 4 mana. Yeah. Anyway, so the idea of this deck is the main win condition is obviously you play Odyn. The rest of your game, after your hero attacks, gain armor. After your hero gains armor, they gain that much attack for that turn. Okay, so the idea is you play this, and anytime you get armor, and we've got lots of things which give us armor. We've got the second Astrolore, which gives us 5 Verse Rift, and obviously you can repeat the riff if you finale a different riff afterwards. Shield block, right, Crossland's Hammer, which makes a 3 attack weapon into a 7 attack weapon because the 4 armor you gain gets added on to your attack straight away. Ignis Lava Gorger, as we said, can give you up to 20 armor, which is attack. Ignis, you don't always have to get the 10 mana weapon. If you think you're not going to be seeing too many taunts or anything like that, just get the 2 mana, the 1 or 2 mana weapon. I can't remember how much it costs now. I think it's 1 mana. Yeah, and get Wind Fury. If you get Wind Fury, then any armor you get gets doubled. Right. What other armor do we have? Kazgaroth gives us armor, and that's about it. Right, so it's not a super high armor deck, but you've got lots of removal. You've got Trial by Fire, which can help remove boards. The biggest challenge with this deck is beating Warlock after they've played Sargeras, where they're going to have 2, 3, 4 taunts every turn, and obviously you want to gain armor in order to have a lot of attack in your weapon, or even if you don't have a weapon, and go face. And obviously you can't do that if they've got 2, 3, 4 taunts. So there's many ways of dealing with that. Bellowing Flames can hopefully get rid of the 2 taunts if they've got nothing else on. You've got Brawl, you've got Blade Storm to get rid of the taunts. And then you've got Thory Below, where it takes out one of the 2 taunts, and when you play any fire spell, even a 2 mana one like this, you get Thory Below back, so you can actually, if Thory Below's off the board, you can just get it back for 2 mana and take out 1 taunt. Unfortunately, because Thory Below's got 4 health, when it attacks into one of the 3, 4 taunts, it will survive, so you can't kill it off, then revive it. You could do something clever with shield slam, but I'm assuming if you've got lots of armor that turn for your weapon that you're trying to get rid of the taunts to go face, you might as well just shield slam their taunt itself. Alright, okay, so that is the general idea of the deck. You've got extra things like Prison of Yogg-Saron that can be very useful. Can give you, sometimes I think I had one where it gave me what's that 9 mana spell, the Sunwell. It gave me a Sunwell and it gave me some very useful spells there. You can do some crazy things with Yogg-Saron. I almost always target their face unless there's a really scary minion I have to get rid of, then I might target them, but even so it's moderately likely you'll get something which can deal with the board in some way. Okay, so in terms of mulligans, it's a bit tricky this deck to get the mulligans right. Right, if you're against aggro, like for example, if you're against a shaman, you keep the blade storm to deal with the totems, and you almost always keep bellowing flames if you think that your opponent might possibly be an aggro deck. Bellowing flames is amazing board clear. It does 10 damage. You know, maximum once it's forged. So it's really 5 mana. So it's a bit like Volcano. So a weak form of Volcano which doesn't overload you, but Volcano does 15 damage. Or there's a new Shaman card which does 10 damage to all enemy minions. So this is more comparable to that. This does 10 damage to all enemy minions, but this doesn't overload you. This is sort of the opposite of overload. You spend your 2 mana up front by forging it in order to have the 10 damage later, whereas the shaman spell you play it up front for 5 mana and then you get overloaded the turn after. So it's interesting. Forge is sort of like the other way around from overload. I think I spoke about that at the pack opening possibly. It's a very interesting mechanic, forged. It's basically the flip side of overload, which can be good. If you want to like play lots of forged cards in a turn, then suddenly they can overwhelm the opponent. But most of the overload cards are basically value and board control rather than active board development. So, right, okay, so Blade Storm, Bellowing Flames, and if you really scared like it gets a druid, you might even want to keep a Brawl just to deal with those massive boards after they've played Drum Circle on turn 2 or something like that. You know how they are, mana ramp and cost reduction. I'm exaggerating, not really turn 2, but right. Shield Slam, situational. I'm not really sure how good Shield Slam is in this deck, but it's got its uses. So. And you've got lots of armor in the deck. You could possibly swap this out, but it's nice that if some of your early cards, instead of getting something more value orientated for late game, you get a shield slam that can save you from, let's say you've got playing a mech rogue or something like that, and you just happen to have enough armor to kill off one of the key minions early on before they start getting enormous. So there you go. You could put, if you're seeing a lot of rogues and sort of mech type of decks, you could put in Mothering Starfish. Where is it? Here you go. Yeah, I have put this in some decks. You just don't see so many mech rogues at the moment, so I don't think it's that necessary. Right, so yeah, so if he's facing aggro, look at things like Blade Storm, Bellowing Flames, and even Brawl if you're really worried about like the big druid turns. Don't keep Trial by Fire, because even though it's an amazing board clear, at the end of the day it's just too expensive and you're leaving yourself too vulnerable early on. Otherwise, if you're facing like a Warlock or something like that, try keeping a card draw, like Shield Block, Verse Rift if you've got a Stone Skin Armourer, things where you're not scared that they're going to kill you very quickly. You want to draw into your answers very quickly. You want to get a shield block, gives you a bit of armor against Curse Warlock, which seems to be quite popular at the moment. And hopefully you'll find your Odyn. Now, Finley's very good, but I wouldn't keep it in the mulligan. Right. Anything else I would think of keeping? If you've got Bellowing Flames, depending on the matchup, you've got to use your own judgment here. You might keep Ignis, because you can just, or if you've got Metronome Guide, but I'm not sure why you would keep Metronome Guide. But if you're keeping Bellowing Flames and you happen to have Ignis in hand as well, then you might think of keeping it, giving yourself a turn 5 weapon. You know, it could be a pretty powerful weapon with the 5-cost weapon on turn 5. If you get Wind Fury, develop a board, summon 2 4/4s for the next 2 turns. Could be very powerful tempo and board control as well. So that's just one little micro thing to look at. Verse Riff I would never use early unless I'm looking for card draw and I'm using it in conjunction with Stone Skin Armor where I'm looking for answers. I'm looking for my Odyn for later on when I get to turn 8. Then keep Verse Rift, use it turn 3 to get the armor, and then Stone Skin Armor. That's the cheapest way you can activate Stone Skin Armor. The other way is you just play the weapon, and then you play, when you swing the next turn you get armor, and you can play Stone Skin Armor for just 2 without spending any other mana, because you already got a weapon equipped from the previous turn which gives you armor. Otherwise, Verse Rift is good with Stone Skin Armor. That's a little synergy there you might want to look out for. Obviously you know how Rifts work, or if you don't, Bridge Rift is the most powerful one, so this is the one you want to repeat generally. So you might want to play Bridge Rift 1 turn, and then the next turn play Finale, a Verse Rift, or what you can do sometimes if you're on coins, turn 5 you play Bridge Rift, coin out, what's it called? Coin out Verse Rift, and then you get another Bridge Rift. And you don't even have to do it like that. If you're turn 6, you haven't played any Rifts, you might as well just play Bridge Rift by itself, which just gets you the Bridge Rift minions, followed by Verse Rift, which will get you a second set as well. But just in case you have played another Rift beforehand, you want to play this Bridge Rift on turn 5 for the finale effect. Then let's say you repeat a Chorus Rift, sort of finale, right? And then you get and then you could do your coin Verse Rift. But the way the meta's looking at the moment, you don't really care too much about maximizing your Rift potential, because you're dealing with different problems in this meta. Your main problem is getting your Odyn on turn 8. So sometimes if you're facing that type of matchup where Odyn's going to make all the difference, then you want to duplicate the Chorus Rift instead. Okay, and obviously if you've got Odyn done already, then you might want to think about duplicating Verse Rift to give you the 2 attack and 2 armor, which actually becomes 4 attack and 2 armor, because the armor turns into attack as well. So if you double the Verse Rift, that it can literally just for 1 mana you've got 8 attack of 4 armor. As I said, the weapon from Ignis, try getting Wind Fury weapon, because if you have played Odyn already and you gain armor with the first swing of the weapon, that will be added on to your attack for the second one. So you might start off with 5 attack, but then you gain 8 armor, so the second time you attack you've actually gained 8 armor from the first swing, which means you gain another 8 attack. So you end up attacking for 5, then 13. So that's already 18 just with your big weapon, your 10 cost weapon. And of course, as we said, you don't actually have to have that. Any Wind Fury weapon, yes, say you play 2 shield blocks or something and an Astalor, that's already 15 armor, and with your Wind Fury that becomes 30 armor, 30 attack. A bit tricky, the mechanics of this deck, but it's pretty straightforward when you get used to it. Right, through below, I would say it's a really, really important. If you don't have it, I wouldn't play this version of the deck, because a lot of the 5 spells are meant to add synergies to this as well. What else? Trial by Fire, very good. Khazgoroth, you almost always want to play the health one first, because that gives you a chance of it surviving the next turn. And also giving yourself armor and survivability. This is a control deck. Primarily, it's a control deck with a couple of win conditions, but control decks you want to survive. Unless there's a key minion which you want to kill, then you get Khazgoroth to have the attack, and then the 9 attack on Khazgoroth will hopefully kill the minion which you need to get killed, and it'll give you 5 attack as well. But otherwise, you want the armor, and obviously you want the armor if you've played Odyn already, because that will give you 5 attack either way. Right, now, there was one thing I wanted to mention. Yes, the mirror matchup. How do you mulligan for the mirror matchup? Very simple. Only go for Odyn. Don't get anything else. If you get low curve, high curve, medium curve, throw everything away. You need Odyn at all costs. So I generally just do a full mulligan. You know, especially a 40 card deck, you need to get that Odyn, because it's really hard to get in the 40 card deck, and you need it on curve. You need it turn 8 or turn 7 if you're going second, when you can use the coin. So ready turn 8, you have synergies of controlling the board, or even just going face, using a combination of armor and your attack. So I almost always full mulligan for Odyn in the mirror match against another warrior. Now, against a priest, where I know they might have things like Dirty Rat, I do the opposite. I make sure I do not have an Odyn. So if I've got a mediocre starting hand, I know I'm not going to be under pressure early. So I just keep it just to make sure I don't draw Odyn too early, until after turn 2 or 3, where they would have played the Dirty Rat. If they're not playing Dirty Rat, then fine. Then you start drawing cards hard and fast to try getting the Odyn. But you do have to be very careful against the priest, because if they get rid of your Odyn, that's one of your key win conditions, and yeah, that's very, very dangerous to lose it. Against Warlock, it's a bit different. They can only get rid of your Odyn if it's in your deck, not in your hand, by Symphony of Sins, with the sin of whatever it's called, the one which removes 6 of your cards from your deck. So you want to make sure you've got Odyn in hand by turn 5, ideally. Otherwise, yeah, it's just it's a really fun deck, this, because it looks like, oh, it's all to do with removal and you know, an armor gain, and then you've got your win condition with Odyn, but it's actually quite a flexible deck. You've got this brilliant card here, Mechanim Guide. Sometimes you can get a black rock and roll for 2 mana. Yeah, because the spells cost 3 less, and that can do wonders in your deck. It gives you your Naga Giants become 28 mana minions. Nowadays, almost every class can deal with a 28 for 0 mana. Easy. But, you know, if they don't, then yeah, you've got a massive threat on the board which they have to deal with. Let's just quickly scroll through this. Against the Druid, this is a key card. You really need Brawl and Blade Storm to deal with those massive boards which they make. And just try surviving. Don't try winning. Just deal with one board after the other. Same with Totem Shaman. Just deal with each board one after the other. Don't worry about winning the game. You'll outlast them just because you've got more cards. and just make sure they don't get any wide boards, which they can buff up and do massive damage next turn. Again, Ignis Lava Gorger. Now, just a clever thing you can do is if you've got Finley Sea Guide in your hand and you happen to have a Naga Giant, try playing all the cards which you can to get the Naga Giant into the left position in your hand. So when you play it, you guarantee the Naga Giant will then be at the bottom of your deck. I think it works like that. The Naga Giant, does it? The first card in your hand becomes the last card in your deck. I think it works that way around. Anyway, but if you've got hardly any cards in your hand anyway, it will still get to the bottom of the deck. But the idea is use your Finley to get this on the bottom of the deck, and then hopefully when you draw Ignis Lava Gorger, then your Naga Giant will be already on the bottom of your deck to be dredged and give yourself 20 armor and sometimes 20 attack or 40 attack if you've got Winged Fury weapon. Anything else? Steam Guardian is just a very nice card, especially with our fire synergies. We've got lots of fire spells. We've got Trial by Fire. We've got Bellowing Flames, and we've got Embers of Strength. So it's half the time it'll actually discount a fire spell as well while you're at it. And yeah, Shield Block, card draw, Stone Skin Armor for card draw. You need the card draw in this deck because it's such a big deck with 40 cards. So you need to have the ability to, when you want to just pop up and just draw and draw and draw and draw. Alright, that's about the deck, and let's just have a look at the win rate quickly. Here you go, you see we've been on a massive win streak. We were, I think, low platinum when we started this run, or maybe mid platinum. And we just won game after game after game. So we're on a 7-game win streak with this deck now. Now we've got used to it. And yeah, this is all from this season. Yeah, from the end of last season as well. So we're running a 71% win rate now, which is very respectable, very good. Especially the Legend MMR. This is very powerful. It can beat any deck at the moment. It's very popular. Even had a nice 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-game win streak there. A bit of a loss streak there. It's interesting, yeah. And back to winning ways. Now then we got on to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 win streak. And then we're on another 7-game win streak now, and that took us straight into Diamond 4 very, very quickly. So I highly recommend this if you want to climb. This is a brilliant deck for climbing. At least a Diamond 5. I think you get to Legend very easily with this deck as well. It's just so consistent, so solid. And if you like playing control decks like I do, this is the best one. You get the extra 5 health with the Renathal. You've got loads of control tools, and you've got a wonderful win condition with Odyn. And it can beat most control decks as well because of Odyn. It gives you a devastating win condition, and it can be aggro as well because of all the removal. And yeah, obviously each game is different. You can get the luck of the draw or the bad luck of the draw, but besides that, it's a really reliable deck. And yeah, if you master it, then it's very, very strong. You can get, as you saw, I've got 3 different big win streaks with this deck already in Legend. Alright, thanks for watching everyone. I hope that was useful, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.